Welcome to RCSP Florida. Today we've kind of ventured out of the state of Florida. We are in South Carolina at the Savannah Wildlife Refuge Drive, and it's a wildlife drive that's about 4.5 miles. We drove it yesterday afternoon, didn't see too much, but we're back this morning to see what we can find, and we're going to take you along with us. And here's the kiosk where you can get your information from. It's right inside the reserve. Is a small parking lot here as soon as you pull in. And I'm going to pick up a brochure here. Here's the brochure with a purple gallinule on the front of it. We're going to be going to the visitor center a little bit later. The wildlife observation and photography is down here, hiking, bicycling, and fishing. So off we go. Plantation cistern. And this is basically called Cistern Trail. This was apparently an old cistern at one time that's been filled up with sand. And look at that giant oak tree. Wow. That is huge. It's even with basically pavers in here. There's the cistern I showed earlier. And we're headed down to the photo blind. I came back down here again. We've been down here once, and unfortunately, in the last storm that came through here, it blew a pine cone down, a pine tree down. You can see some down trees right there. And here's where the fencing is up here is the beginning where the blind is, and the blind was pretty much destroyed by this tree. Actually, I don't think that's actually a pine tree. I think can't really tell. But here it is, and it's the entrance to it. It was a really nice blind, too. It's really a shame. But unfortunately, they had it closed. But that's the roof off of it. But this, it is a pine tree. Yeah, this pine tree, as you can see, came down. Get past the tape here. I'm not going to go by the barrier, but you can see what's done to it. It actually hit that corner right there and shoved the whole thing towards, basically that way. And what a mess. What a shame. Built by friends of the Savannah Coastal Wildlife Refuge, Carolina's Nature Photographers Association. Wow, what a shame. I think it can be salvaged and repaired, but gonna take a lot of work. And of course, first thing you gotta do is to get this tree off of it. Man, some of these storms that have come through here. I'll get a shot of this if you want to kind of pause it and read it. There we go. But that is a huge marsh out there. Wow. This is kind of a little loop trail here. We found lots of birds in here, but just like I say, these small birds are, obviously people take pictures of them all the time, depending on where you are, what the bird is, and how sensitive he is to humans being around. These are pretty much wild birds, and they're migrating down through here, but we've seen tons of small birds in here, but they are just as a bird right there. But they're in an area you can't get a shot of them. They are constantly moving. I'm not making excuses. Anybody that goes out with a long lens and tries to photograph these small birds would tell you the same thing. Unfortunately, they're just really, really hard to spot. I was sitting right here a minute ago, and there's a bird sitting in that little tree right there on top of me with the chickadee. But I don't know. It's so dark underneath here today that it's sun's in and out, but it's cloudy right now, almost completely overcast. So it's really, even I'm shooting at ISO 640, and I still can't get the shutter speed up high enough to do much of anything. He has to be pretty still. And I'm hand holding it in low light, and so that's a combination of a long lens, low light. It's not good. But here we come back out to this trail. It's a short loop, but it's a nice one. Like I say, we saw a ton of birds in there, but my wife was identifying them by the sounds they were making through one of the apps. But here we are back at the car again. The TV news car you saw was out here looking for the crash site of a small airplane that had gone down in this area the day before. They were looking for a way to get to the crash site by car, but I don't think they ever found it. Apparently, it went down somewhere in the marsh. We expected to see a lot of ducks that normally winter in the marsh, but the weather at this point had been so warm along the east coast of the U.S. that the ducks had not come this far south yet. We only got a picture of 3 shovelers the entire time we were there. We saw a few teal on the wing, but they all landed way out in the marsh, so you couldn't even see them once they landed. Trying to photograph migrating birds is a challenge sometimes, unless you are free to go anytime at a moment's notice, but unfortunately I can't do that. I seem to be on a roll and not a good one. Last year we went to Savannah National Wildlife Refuge in North Carolina to photograph the snow geese and tundra swans, and there were no snow geese at all, and the tundra swans were in an area closed to the public. Normally the snow geese and tundra swans are there by the thousands. The opening of this video was shot at Savannah, and you can see the huge number of birds that are normally there. It's the luck of the draw sometimes. Kingfisher Pond Recreation Area is not part of the Wildlife Drive, but it is in the same area not far from the Visitor Center. It is still part of the Savannah National Wildlife Refuge. We're at Kingfisher Pond Recreation Area. It's about a 0.89 loop around this place. But the weather has just not been good. It's completely overcast, so taking pictures is going to be challenging, especially of birds. Let me come out on this little dock, and they have a monocular there. It's a beautiful little pond. But as you can see, it has, looking at the clouds, it is not really good. It's only a little bit of blue sky here and there, but we haven't seen the sun for several hours. Anyway, if we walk around this place, I'll show you what we see. Kind of a narrow trail here. I wouldn't just say it's primitive, but it's pretty close. See more of the damage from the storms that went through this area as well. Tree has been uprooted. There's a whole bunch of trees behind it that are down. The storms in the southeast have really taken their toll. There's a pond out there. We're probably not going to go but a short distance down this. We haven't heard hardly the first bird. I saw a little bird when we first got here, and we haven't heard or seen a bird since. So this is just going to be an exercise, and I don't particularly need the exercise today. Kind of a little overlook of the pond here. The dock is over to the right, but you can't see through the trees. Well, we haven't really seen that much, and the mosquitoes are here too, even though it's getting pretty cool up here. So we're probably going to head back, and I'll catch up with you later. Kind of walked up to take a picture of this entrance sign, and my wife is driving the car up. She usually does most of the driving when we're on these expeditions. That way I'm free to take pictures. Catch you later. Here are the few photos I was able to take on this trip. The ducks were not there yet, and what was there was about the same things we photograph in Florida, including alligators. Yes, there are alligators in South Carolina. The Port of Savannah is a huge port, as you can see from the number of gantry cranes required to load and unload container ships. The Little Back River Bridge is Highway 17 coming out of downtown Savannah, Georgia. It takes you from Georgia into South Carolina. The river is the borderline between the two states. We really enjoyed the trip and we'll go back again, but from a photography point of view, it was pretty much a bust this time. Nonetheless, I hope you enjoyed this brief look at Savannah National Wildlife Refuge and the Laurel Hill Wildlife Drive. I know we did. Thanks for watching and have a great day.